What's the reaction been like so far to the album?
I think everyone's just super excited and blown away by all of the collaborations and all of the messages Beyonce is sending, and also just the beautiful sound she's created with this album.
Well, let's talk about the collaborations, as you mentioned. The album includes a number of them with legendary country artists like Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, maybe most notably Linda Martell. What do these inclusions say to you about Beyonce's intention with this album?
Well, I think Beyonce was super deliberate and intentional with the collaborators, with everything around this album, the imagery. I mean, with folks like Linda Martell, she's including them to, sort of reclaim country music's hidden roots and give her her flowers. Linda Martell was considered one of the first prominent Black women in country music, but her career was short-lived because she didn't get all of the credit and all of the flowers she deserved, even including legends like Willie Nelson. I mean, he was considered an outlaw, so to speak, in country music many years ago. So I think she's sending so many messages and she's paying homage to so many legends and highlighting Black musicians, both past and present, in the process.
That's great. Well, we've heard a bit about Beyonce's Southern roots in the lead up to this album. For those who don't know much about her story, can you give us a little bit more about her Texan background?
Yeah, well, Beyonce has always been country. She has grown up, going to the Houston rodeo. She's performed there multiple times. And I think this album sort of, puts that on the main stage. In 2021, her Ivy Park line did a rodeo collection, which was inspired by Black cowgirls and Black cowboys. So this kind of just dismantles the idea and stereotypes centered around being country and cowgirls and cowboys. So Beyonce's just getting back to her roots, and she's also saying, look, you can't put me in a box, because her single Texas Hold'em is now charting on several platforms, several genres as well.
Right. And given her roots, do you think it was kind of inevitable that we'd get a country-inspired album from Beyonce at some point?
I would say so. I mean, her dad and family has been vocal since she was a little girl. She has been listening to country. Beyonce has tapped into so many genres over the years. I mean, in 2016, she dropped Daddy Lessons, which on her Lemonade album, which is also a country track. And so I think Beyonce is just showing that, she cannot be constrained to boxes or certain genres, and that she's capable of them all. And she's pointing out the irony of country music and its Black roots, when so many Black artists still struggle for mainstream success.
Yeah, Beyonce's last album, Renaissance, was a foray into dance and house music, but her genre blending there didn't receive the same kind of attention that this country-inspired album has. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that there are some people that are so protectionist over country music?
Well, I think, a lot of people were excited about Renaissance as well, but I think, the backlash or, response to the country music landscape is just centered around the history of the United States and the history of country music and this traditional establishment. But I think if anyone is, going to start these conversations and push the envelopes, it is Beyonce.
In advance of the release, Beyonce put out a statement on social media which read in part that this album was born out of an experience that I had years ago where I did not feel welcomed. And that, of course, is a reference to her Country Music Awards performance with the Chicks, in which people criticized her for not being country enough. Do you think that she'll avoid that kind of criticism this time? Or does she even care?
Yeah, well, I think this album is sort of as a direct response to that. I mean, she's showing that she is country enough. In fact, she's unveiling country music's roots, not just her own. And she's charting and she's being successful in the process. So I think she doesn't have to say much in that regard. I think her strides are speaking for themselves.